There's a certain weariness that you can hit from time to time where it's hard to explain. You mentally, you've got enough to keep going, but you're in a bit of a fog. Physically, you'll just keep pushing through, but you know that your body's showing signs that something's not quite right. And emotionally, again, you'll keep pushing on, but there are times where you feel like you're just holding it together. If that is something that you've experienced before, you're experiencing right now, today I'm going to talk about why that happens, how your body will show you that it's happening, and what to do about this state, which is meaning you either on the verge of or hitting burnout. I'm Ian Hawkins, and this is Sport is Life. The purpose of sport, as I see it, is to see your vision become a reality, find your voice, create strong connections, and learn to trust your body. So like I said in yesterday's episode, burnout will get you if you keep pushing on when really you need to rest. So today's episode is about helping you understand how it happens, the impact on your body, and then how to change things. So when you have a lot of things on, you have a lot of fires burning, they all need to be tended to. Now, you have your own personal things, you have fires for them, you have things for work, you might volunteer your time somewhere, family, friends, other people's priorities. And what ends up happening is that you're trying to manage all of these fires. You're trying to do the right thing, you're trying to keep everyone happy. Now, eventually, some of those fires, because you can't give them the time and energy that they deserve, that they need, they burn out of control. And that's where you can run into problems. Then there's the other problem you can run into, which is fires that absolutely need to continue to burn. They're really important ones. Like your health, for example, like family, like there's urgent things with work. If you don't give them the attention that they need, if you don't add the fuel that they need, then those fires will burn out, and whatever needed to happen there will suffer a huge setback, if not disappear altogether if it's an opportunity. So the question for you at the moment might be, how many of those fires are important? How many of them are urgent? How many of them are actually your fires? How many things are you getting drawn into which actually aren't even important to you, but you're doing them out of obligation, out of guilt? Maybe someone's pressuring you or manipulating you into doing certain tasks. So it takes a good, honest self-reflection when you are facing this repeated pattern of burnout where you continue to come back to that same place where you're just completely worn out. That weariness that's hard to explain that I was describing on yesterday's episode. Now, how do you know that you've reached that point? Well, there are usually telltale signs from your body. For example, you wake up already feeling tired, even if you've had a good night's sleep. The sleep's been poor. That's usually a good sign. You can start to get joint pain, muscle pain. There's a level of frustration that'll start creeping in that maybe wasn't there. Your focus and concentration really starts to dip. Your motivation slowly starts to wane. You have those moments where you forget what you were doing and you just think, what was I doing? You've got that brain fog where you can't even spit out the sentence because you can't, the words won't find you. You can't even think of the right words to use. Usually people can start to annoy you more than they usually do. So that frustration creeps in because your patience starts to go. You might have random moments of anxiety, of being sad, of just emotions that come out of the blue, out of nowhere, possibly not even yours. They're someone that you're well connected to, that you're feeling, but sometimes it's yours, but you just can't explain it because you're too tired to really get a grasp on what's happening. Then you get the things like the lethargy. You might even be there physically in your house at home, but you've kind of checked out. You're in zombie mode. You're what my son calls NPC mode, non-player character, where you are there physically, but you're not really hearing the conversations, or you're just answering vaguely. You may have someone repeat back to you, "Oh, but you said yes to this," or you gave me this answer, but you have no recollection of it, even though it only happened the day before. You might slip into bad habits. Some of those regular habits will start to disappear. You go into comfort eating and drinking, so that has a bigger impact on your health. You start feeling disconnected from people because you're not getting yourself up and motivated to do the things that you know are going to be good for you. And if it gets really bad, you can sometimes have those moments where you just think, what's the point of all this? You just can't keep going. So if you've been nodding away thinking, yeah, I've experienced all of those things, or I'm experiencing them at the moment, then more than likely you are experiencing the early stages, or you are well in to heading towards burnout. So when I talked about before about the fires, one of the things that you need to address to change this this burnout pattern is to get really clear on your priorities, because time and energy and giving either of those things to other people really is a question of priorities. And when you say, I haven't got time for this, or I haven't got time for that, or I haven't got energy for that, or I'm finding myself pulled in all different directions, spread too thin, it's usually a question of priorities. You haven't got your priorities in the right place. And as I said earlier, sometimes you're prioritizing things that aren't important, or even things that aren't even your priorities, other people's agendas. And what you need to come back to is, okay, what's most important? Get yourself a life priority list, 5 to 10 things in your life that are most important. And whenever I'm coaching, I never tell anyone that this is what you have to do. This is one I do strongly recommend, though, which is on your life priority list, that you and your health is at the top of that list, because you can't be the best possible partner, parent, sibling, son or daughter, work colleague, friend, whatever it is. You can't be the best version of that unless you are prioritizing yourself and your health first. So it can feel selfish. You might even feel guilty about putting yourself before others, but it is absolutely necessary so you can be your best for those people. You're someone that loves to give. You're someone that loves to serve, to help people. You need to be able to do that from a place of prioritizing yourself first. Then, of course, the most important things after that, generally, it's family. If you've got kids, then for mine, you're prioritizing your relationship with your partner, because you want to be the best role model for them, for your children, on what a healthy relationship looks like, what you're either telling them, what they showing them by being the role model of what a good way to behave when they're older, or the sort of partner to attract. Then obviously you're going to prioritize family. And then you get into the things, what else is important? Like, there's going to be a career element of that. There might be some charity. There might be some volunteering. There might be some projects, some things like music, sport, whatever it is, and getting that in the order. Even if you, as you think about it, and we talk through the different lists on your priority list, think about how often you are actually prioritizing those 3 things that I mentioned at the top, like your own personal journey and health, your relationships, closest relationships with the family that you live with. And how often do you get stuck looking after prioritizing work too high up the list, and other people's agendas or ideas or things that aren't as important? So it comes back to that life priority list, because then when you are faced with having too many fires burning, it makes it easier to decide which ones you either need to hand over to someone else, or just let burn out. Or if they need to be controlled first so they don't burn out of control, is putting that fire out, closing the loop, giving it no more oxygen, whatever it is. Because when you can do that, then you're going to be able to find that you're going to be able to dedicate so much more energy to the things that are most important. That pattern of burnout is going to hopefully never happen again. But if it does, it's going to happen in a way that you are aware of it, you're far more controlled, and you're able to bounce back so much quicker. So to have your priorities is one thing, but then you need boundaries. You need to be able to have that courage and that strength to say to people, no, I can't do that today. I need to focus here. Actually, you don't even have to give a reason. It's being able just to say it confidently and assertively that, no, I haven't got time and energy that I can invest in that at the moment. And that can be really difficult, particularly if they're people that you've always given to, you've always done things for, particularly if it's family. There's a feeling of obligation and guilt. I'm not saying it's easy, but there are ways that you can overcome that. And I'm saying it is a necessity if you want to make sure you are prioritizing your health at the top of that list and avoiding the dreaded burnout where things start going awry. What you'll find is that when you have that life priority list and you've got that really clear and you've got it written down, those conversations become easier to have because you've got it written down in black and white. It creates a truth in your mind, consciously, subconsciously, that you can easily define what's most important. And then the next level after that is to learning to be more confident, more assertive, and being able to hold your place, hold the line. Because sometimes when you change boundaries on people who are used to a certain way, they can either retreat and disappear, or they can come at you even harder trying to find where that boundary is, and maybe particularly the ones that maybe traditionally have manipulated you or subtly pushed you into things you didn't really want to do out of obligation or guilt. They might try new methods and really push the limits. So like I said, it's not always going to be easy, but this is the necessary steps to take to be able to change this behavior and change your health, and ultimately to be so much more healthier, happier, and fulfilled in your everyday life. So have a think about, where are you at in terms of those symptoms? Are you showing too many of those now, or do they regularly show up? Have you got those priorities clear? Are you living to those priorities? And then do you have that capacity to keep your boundaries in place so you can prioritize what is most important? Now, this isn't always going to keep everyone around you happy, but with consistency and the ability to stay the course on this, they will come to understand it. And honestly, if they can't come to understand it, then maybe they're not people that you want to have in your life, because if they can't understand you prioritizing your health and well-being at the closest people to you, then personally that they're people that maybe they don't have as big a place in your life as they should, or as they do at the moment. Sorry. All right. It's big work, this, but it's also important. So I'll leave you to do some writing, getting this down, to contemplate what you need to change, what your approach needs to be, and and then importantly, taking action. Now, if you haven't already, please do subscribe so that it helps me reach more people, gets me higher up the queue. Set it on automatic downloads so that, again, that helps the algorithm find more people. And I would be hugely appreciated if you find something on this that you know someone else in your world would appreciate, then please do share it as well. And together we can help as many people as possible to start hitting their goals, to start living life on their terms and getting so much more out of their life. Squeeze every bit out of the lemon. I'll leave it there. Speak to you soon. You've taken the time to listen to this whole episode. Now it's time to take action. Commit to one thing you've learned today and make it happen. And to avoid any obstructions, join the Sport is Life movement by clicking on the link in the show notes.